These schools, as you show in your movie, Killing Ed, they come in and they're giving them a lot of Turkish culture, teaching them the Turkish language, sending them on trips to Turkey?
Exactly. Every year, thousands of these children are going to Turkey for the summer. I've talked to parents that have gone on these trips. We don't cover it very much in the film, but you do see, students from even public schools that somehow have been invited to go on these trips to Turkey as a result of the Gulen movement.
And they get a Disneyland experience when they go.
Well, they get an experience that's not really the real Turkey. And I think this is what irks the secular Turks that we should be supporting in Turkey. We should not be supporting a global Islamic movement here in our country because they're getting in excess of $500 million a year in taxpayer funds.
That's amazing.
These are funds that you and I are giving to our government, and they're going directly to this organization. Now, a lot of that money is going to the schools, to operate the schools, to pay salaries. However, you'll find that young teachers that are coming to work at these schools that are not affiliated with the Gulen movement are being paid a lot less than the Turkish teachers that are coming over. Now, a part of that money, evidently and apparently, is being skimmed every year to go to the non-educational purposes that Fethullah Gulen has for his followers, including what I consider a very soft civil war that's occurring right now in Turkey.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. Take advantage of this at InfoWarsLife.com.
And why wearing a Hillary for President t-shirt might get you punched in the face.
They thought it said Hillary for President. He said, I was seconds away from sending my bar back over here to punch you in the face. Since you're wearing a Hillary for Prison shirt, you don't have to buy drinks here. Everything's on the house.
Hillary for President! Hillary's not surging, I tell you that. They're not saying that. They're not saying, thank you.
There you have it. Donald Trump endorses Hillary for Prison. Get your Hillary for Prison 2016 t-shirt at the InfoWars store. And on the back, it says, legalize freedom. Show your disapproval of Hillary by buying your t-shirt today.
But what she's done is criminal.
This is an American president. Just add puppet, then vote and repeat every 4 years.
And Jacob,
I want to bring in Ms. Fiorina. I want to bring in Ms. Fiorina.
It's been done over and over again, Christy, by people like you.
Hope that I am the only person on this stage who can say this, but I know there are millions of Americans out there who will say the same thing. My husband Frank and I buried a child to drug addiction.
Oh my God.
So we must invest more in the treatment.
What kind of drug? Overdose of marijuana or what? I don't know.
I agree with states' rights, but we are misleading young people when we tell them that marijuana is just like having a beer. It's not. And the marijuana that kids are smoking
let me chime in here. How many people have buried a child or a family member or a parent because of the war on drugs? Because police, SWAT teams killed them. Innocent people, even people who were smoking something recreationally. Should that be a death sentence in America? And we need to understand that this war on drugs came from a United Nations agenda, just like Agenda 21. They created an agenda in 1961, complete with 4 schedules. Schedule 1 drugs were drugs that said they had no medical use whatsoever. Marijuana was put into that. And the fact that they have medical marijuana exemptions puts a lie to the fact that marijuana is still a Schedule 1. But it goes worse than that. Worse than that. We have 2 constitutional amendments out of 20-something that are about prohibition. We had one that made alcohol, prohibited alcohol. That didn't help anybody. We have people who are dying every year from alcohol overdoses. College students every fall will go to college, get away from their parents, and overdose on alcohol. We could tell sob stories about that. It's a very sad situation. But alcohol prohibition did not stop it. It made it worse.
Right.
And it was done, though, with a constitutional amendment because we used to have people that gave a flying whatever about the Constitution. We don't have anybody like that anymore. They could care less what's in the Constitution. Where's their constitutional amendment? The constitutional amendment with 10 and with 9, those amendments say that the government doesn't have any powers that weren't directly given to them. We just had these guys quote that about certain issues, but not about the war on drugs, not about the UN's war on drugs. This is a UN agenda that these conservatives are pushing on you. It has killed millions of people in America and across the world. Far more than that, look at the war in Mexico. That is a war on drugs. You want to talk about all the violence coming across? Let's talk about the roots in the war on drugs. That war on drugs these people have pushed from the UN has created the violence in Mexico. Tens of thousands of people have died there. More people have died there than in Afghanistan. And you want to talk about these dangerous drug cartels coming across? They were created by our war on drugs. That's the truth of what's going on here. It's far worse than what they're talking about. Rand Paul did a great job with that. It's great to see him lay that down on Jeb Bush and on Chris Christie. The privilege of Jeb Bush and the criminality of that prosecutor, Chris Christie, that disgusting.
Yeah, the war on drugs has definitely destroyed a lot of families and their
He's
futures.
almost worse than Lindsey Graham.
Hey, hang on, Joe. Let's hear what's going on about this question about marijuana. This is a different kind of question. Let's hear this.
It's really damaged our inner cities. Not only do the drugs damage them, we damage them again by incarcerating them and then preventing them from getting employment over time. So I don't think that the federal government should override the states. I believe in the 10th Amendment, and I really will say that the states are left to themselves.
I want to give that.
Now they're going to go to Christie, I guarantee you.
That you called a hypocrite an opportunity to respond. Do you want to identify that person?
Well, I think if we left it open, we could see how many people smoked pot in high school.
Is there somebody you were specifically thinking of?
Well, you know, the thing is,
He was talking about me.
Yeah, I was talking
That's
about.
what I thought, but I wanted him to say it.
I wanted to make it easier for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just did.
Governor Bush, please.
So 40 years ago, I smoked marijuana, and I admit it. I'm sure that other people might have done it.
Now, this is the True Confessions part of the reality TV show.
My mom's not happy that I just did. That's true. But here's the deal.
He should have lost his right to vote. He should have been put in jail for 20 years.
This epidemic of drugs that goes way beyond marijuana. What goes on in Colorado, as far as I'm concerned, that should be a state decision. But if you look at the problem of drugs in this society today, it's a serious problem. Rand, you know this because you're campaigning in New Hampshire like all of us, and you see the epidemic of heroin, the overdoses of heroin that's taking place. People's families are
coming from Afghanistan.
Yeah, which is why we're
government to play a
protecting it.
And who's guarding those opium fields?
Yeah, no vacuum there except in some noses and hypodermic needles, right?
Yeah.
In drug courts to give people a second chance. That's the best way to do this.
But let me respond. The thing is that in Florida, Governor Bush campaigned against medical marijuana. That means that a small child like Morgan Hintz that has 500 seizures a day, is failing on 9 traditional medications, is not allowed to use cannabis oil, and that if they attempt to do that in Florida, they will take the child away. They will put the parents in jail.
Yes.
And that's what that means. If you're against allowing people to use medical marijuana, you'll actually put them in jail.
Right,
and actually, under the current circumstances, kids who had privilege like you don't go to jail, but the poor kids in our inner cities go to jail. I don't think that's fair, and I think that we need to acknowledge it, and it is hypocritical to still want to put poor people in jail.
I don't want to put poor people in jail, Rand.
Well,
here's the deal.
You oppose
put more people in jail.
When the legislature passed the bill to deal with that very issue.
We have more people in jail than China does. They've got 4 times the population, 5 times the population. I forget what
many people under mandatory minimum.
It was the first step towards
not his daughter.
Colorado Place.
Yeah, not his daughter, not him.
No.
But that means you'll put people in jail.
He'll put sick people in jail, but of course, when he uses it recreationally, it has no consequences.
That's true. Go ahead.
One of the things to watch tonight, of course, they're going to talk about the economy. How do you talk about the economy without talking about the massive federal debt? And today, what they did was they passed an extension of the debt ceiling. Remember when they did that before? Barack Obama said, well, we haven't spent any money, you know, just passing the debt ceiling. That doesn't mean
raising
anything.
the debt ceiling doesn't raise the debt.
That's right. It allows them to raise the debt. It doesn't technically. See, that's how they parse their words, you know, when they do that. Now, remember that it was in 2011 that the deficit was the debt was at $14 trillion. Today, they have pushed it up to $20 trillion. That's a 43% increase in just 4 years. And that's what we've got to look at. That's the GOP elephant in the room that they don't want to talk about. The fact that they are on the same page with Obama, that they're both moving us further and further into debt.
You know, I am, by my nature, impatient, and this is not a...
his biggest weakness is his name is Bush.
That rewards that.
His brother.
Patient,
they call me Jeb, and I earned that, I said before.
His daddy financed the Nazis. His brother helped bring in 9/11, signed the Patriot Act.
His grandfather was a founder of Planned Parenthood, working with Margaret Sanger.
Senator Paul.
Slam her to the floor.
So only two people really answered it.
Medical practice
Baron
and ran
Harkonnen
for office
speaks.
Because I was concerned about an $18 trillion debt. We borrow $1 million a minute. Now on the floor of the Congress, the Washington establishment from both parties puts forward a bill that will explode the deficit. It allows President Obama to borrow unlimited amounts of money. I will stand firm. I will spend every ounce of energy to stop it. I will begin tomorrow to filibuster it, and I ask everyone in America to call Congress tomorrow and say, enough's enough, no more debt.
Well, gee, after the last debate, I was told that I didn't smile enough.
So we can't tell when she's smiling.
I also think that these are very serious times. 75% of the American people think the federal government is corrupt. I agree with them. And this big, powerful, corrupt bureaucracy works now only for the big, the powerful, the wealthy, and the wealthy.
What are you going to do about it?
Except she worked for Michael Hayden to help spy on the American people. Yeah.
Just Americans who've quit looking for work for 40 years.
Hewlett Packard biometric data.
Government. This is about more than replacing a D with an R. We need a leader who will help us.
Surveillance equipment, they should help people look for jobs.
they like
to find all the now hiring signs.
Yeah, I know. Find me a job then, guy. You got these blimps up in the air.
We're going to build a wall. We're going to create a border. We're going to let people in, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come in legally, and it's something that can be done. They built the Great Wall of China. That's 13,000 miles. Here we actually need 1,000 because we have natural barriers. So we need 1,000. We can do a wall. We're going to have a big...
That would be the good time to, since we're talking about economics, talk about the economic incentives that are going to bring people in here whether or not you build a wall. We just saw this happen in Europe. Hungary completely closed their border. What happened? People went through Slovenia and Croatia because they're going to go to Germany. They're going to go to Sweden. They're going to get there however they can, as long as they're going to get a pot of gold from the entitlement state. So that's the problem, and they want to address that. You know, 19th century, 18th century walls are not going to stop this.
Yeah, I don't think a wall, for anybody, not just Trump saying this, I don't think a physical wall is going to do the job.
30 seconds. First of all, John got lucky with a thing called fracking, okay? He hit oil. He got lucky with fracking, believe me. That's why Ohio is doing well. And that's important for you to know. Number two, this is the man that was a managing general partner at Lehman Brothers when it went down the tubes and almost took every one of us with us, including Ben and myself. Because I was there and I watched what happened, and Lehman Brothers started it all. He was on the board and he was a managing general partner. Okay. And just thirdly,
I think Kasich's guts are on the floor right now.
Such a nice guy.
I think he's bleeding out.
I'm never going to attack. But
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. InfoWarsLife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams a piece. It has 3 milligrams, the standard recommended dose for an adult. It's got the GABA. So it would probably cost $50 to take all this as separate pills. It's $19.95. You take one or two of these, and it just is really clean, restful sleep is what the reviews are. It's what I've experienced. and it just synergistically puts everything in there. InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.